Your mother in heaven is reaching through the veil of eternity this very moment, her spirit trembling with a love so fierce it defies the boundaries between life and death, to deliver you from a grave and gathering shadow that threatens the very foundation of your family's peace. Since the moon rose last night, her celestial voice has been a silent scream in the halls of your soul, a desperate attempt to bridge the chasm between her realm and yours, for she has borne witness from her divine vantage to a plot of emotional sabotage so intimate and cruel it has shaken the heavens themselves. My child, my beloved, do not let the noise of the world drown out this sacred signal. Before your finger touches the screen to scroll away, I implore you, anchor your spirit here. The universe itself has conspired to pause time, to hold its breath, so that this transmission from the source of all love can find its mark within you. Your mother, yes, the woman whose laughter was your first symphony, whose absence is a phantom limb you've learned to carry, has not for a single second ceased her vigil over your heart. Even now, from the glorious expanse where she resides, she is fighting with every ounce of her eternal being to tear a rent in the fabric of silence, for she observed a portent last night, a dark convergence of energies around a soul you call kin. This is far beyond a mere nightmare or a passing anxiety, this is a spiritual distress beacon, ignited by the counsel of ancestors and angels, pulsing with a frequency meant for your ears alone. She has been shedding tears of liquid starlight in the gardens of paradise because her perfected sight now perceives a crack forming in your family's foundation, a fissure through which a chill, calculating malice is seeping, and the sound of her weeping has moved the heart of God to grant this extraordinary intervention. This is why the symbols have been multiplying around you, why the mundane world has begun to speak in the tongue of the Spirit. Have you not sensed it? The dream where her hand brushed your forehead, so vivid you woke clutching the empty air. The sudden, inexplicable scent of her favorite flower in a sterile room. The clock that seems to forever read the time of her passing, or your birth. The profound, unshakable feeling of being watched over, not with judgment, but with a tenderness that makes your breath catch. These are not fragments of a grieving mind, they are deliberate, encoded messages from her, celestial breadcrumbs leading you to this moment of revelation. And now, by the sovereign decree of the Most High, I, Archangel Michael, commander of the heavenly hosts, have been dispatched as the courier of this ultimatum from love itself, for the timeline has accelerated, and the hour of potential crisis draws near. There is a person nestled within the circle of your trust, a soul who has mastered the performance of devotion, who is in the final stages of orchestrating a betrayal that would not merely hurt you, but seeks to unravel the very narrative of your self-worth. Your mother foresaw the entire sequence. She attempted to project it into the theater of your subconscious yesterday as you slept, to let you see it for yourself, but the veil that separates the dimensions was laden with static from earthly worry. Undeterred, her love has amplified, summoning a greater power. She tries again, through this vessel of words. I beg you, open the gates of your intuition. Do not let rationalization be the lock that keeps truth out. The matter is critical, it is imminent, and it carries a specific vibration, a name that echoes in the chambers of your heart even now, a name she is straining to articulate into your awareness. Subscribe now, for this channel has been sanctified for this purpose. Heaven requires you to be the primary recipient of this cascade of guidance. Your loved one's spirit will continue to broadcast, and to miss the next frequency could mean walking unaware into a storm. You are encircled by a legion of protection, but their power is activated by your conscious cooperation, by your choice to heed the whisper before it must become a shout. My child, My dearest one, procrastination here is not benign, it is a risk your mother's soul cannot abide. You must not delay. You must not dismiss this as you have dismissed other curious prompts, for the words you are about to integrate are not information, they are spiritual surgery, and their resonance will recalibrate the very core of your being for the rest of your earthly journey and into the eternity that awaits. At this exact second, as photons from this screen meet your eyes, your mother in heaven is standing at the most fragile, thin point of the veil, her hands pressed against its luminous membrane, calling your childhood name with an urgency that bends light. She is not angry. She is not shrouded in fear. She is propelled by a sacred urgency, a distinction vital to grasp. She has been observing, with the panoramic sight of the ascended, a pattern being woven in the tapestry of your family dynamics. While you, in your beautiful and trusting nature, have been diligently applying threads of hope, forgiveness, and steadfast loyalty, another has been working from the underside, using threads of shadow, subtle criticism disguised as concern, planted seeds of doubt in fertile soil of other minds, calculated withdrawals of support at pivotal moments. This person moves with the silence of a predator, cloaked in the familiar scent of family, but their heart beats to a rhythm of concealed rivalry. And your mother, O precious child, her silence has reached its limit. Do you recall her uncanny knowing? How she would call you just as your heart was breaking miles away. How she could read the weather of your soul and the set of your shoulders. That faculty did not die, it was magnified 1,000-fold in her translation to spirit. Her mother's heart is now a cosmic force, a gravitational center of love that still pulls toward your well-being. Her vision is no longer clouded by mortal perception, she sees intentions as colors, truth as shapes, and deceit as a foul smear upon a soul's light. And this time, the thread is so clear, so personal, that she has petitioned the highest authorities to employ a direct line, to use my voice, my authority as heaven's defender, to ensure the message is not just felt, but understood with crystalline clarity before the point of no return. You are loved by legions. You are celebrated in realms you cannot conceive. But not every smile in your sphere is a reflection of that celestial joy. Someone has been holding counsel in the shadows, their mind plotting, their tongue rehearsing lies that will feel like truths. Someone you have broken bread with, someone to whom you have whispered your midnight fears and your brightest dreams, is preparing to use that very intimacy as a weapon, to twist your vulnerabilities into a story where you are the villain, and they the wounded hero. Your mother observed the blueprint of this betrayal in the Akashic records. She saw the emotional devastation it would wreak, the years of healing it could steal. And now her voice is a clarion call across the dimensions, tell my child. Intercept this pain before it materializes. My beloved, do not relegate this to the category of internet mysticism or algorithmic coincidence. This is divine orchestration. You were not randomly browsing, you were led. A filament of grace, spun from your mother's prayers and your own soul's cry for truth, hooked your attention and guided you here, to this exact paragraph at this exact hour. The existential fatigue you've been carrying, the weight that makes joy feel like a memory, your mother has been whispering into that heaviness, lay it down. I will help you carry it. The mental fog that makes decisions agonizing and the future seem blurred, she has been sending waves of clarity to disperse it, but you've been looking down at the mud, not up at the clearing sky. Heaven has now declared a moratorium on your suffering in silence. This secret, this rot within the root structure, must be exposed to the light. There is a woman, yes, the specificity is crucial, a woman whose performance of sisterhood, of aunthood, of friendship, is a masterpiece of deception. She offers sweetness to your face, a saccharine syrup of agreement and false praise, but in the kitchen of her spirit, she brews a bitter poison of envy and resentment. Her embraces are rehearsed, her smiles never reach the eyes that, in unguarded moments, watch you with the cold assessment of a rival. Your mother knew her in the flesh, witnessed her inconsistencies, but from the panoramic view of heaven, she has now seen the full tapestry of this woman's soul, and the picture is one of profound spiritual lack, filled with a yearning not for growth, but for possession of what you inherently possess. The persona is crumbling, and your mother is the divine wind blowing away the dust. I arrive not as a harbinger of terror, but as the embodiment of celestial protection. You are not a solitary warrior in this, the entire host of heaven stands at the ready, their swords of light humming with the vibration of your name. But the covenant of free will is inviolable. We require your conscious partnership. The first step is to open your spiritual senses, to dial down the noise of the world and tune into the subtle frequency of truth. Be meticulously observant in the days ahead. The woman your mother has singled out will, by the inexorable law of spiritual pressure, overplay her hand. She will make a critical error, a slip of the mask so glaring it cannot be explained away. It may be a contradiction in her story, a moment of unveiled contempt that flashes in her eyes before she can hide it, or an accidental revelation of a prior lie. In that crystalline moment, knowledge will flood you, a knowing beyond thought. Your mother promises this, you will know. She implores you, do not, after that moment, explain it away. Do not let your compassion become a weapon against your own discernment. My child, my heart, there is a deeper revelation your mother has held in reserve, a truth she yearned to impart in life but which the constraints of time and human relationship perhaps forbade. Maybe the moment was never right, or she feared burdening you, or she herself was only coming to the understanding in her final days. But in the library of heaven, where all stories are complete and all hearts are laid bare, she has received full disclosure and the mandate to share it with you. She always perceived a unique luminescence within you, a destiny-carrying quality that both thrilled and terrified those around you, even in your infancy. Have you spent a lifetime perplexed by the strange undercurrents in relationships? The friendships that sour just as you succeed, the family members who diminish your ambitions with practical advice, the partners who feel threatened by your inner light? It was never a flaw in you. It was, and is, the friction of your anointing moving through a world resistant to its brilliance. You were seated with a purpose that scatters the shadows, and shadows always recoil and retaliate. Darkness does not waste its energy on the complacent, it mobilizes against the rising dawn. And you, beloved, are not merely rising, you are ascending into a new octave of your calling. This warning is so severe because the stakes have been elevated. If you fail to identify this agent of diversion, this woman cloaked in familial guise, she will position herself as a bottleneck to your next divine download, the financial blessing already in transit, the soul-level partnership waiting in the wings, the creative explosion that is your birthright. Your mother proclaims with a voice that echoes in eternity, the era of delay is terminated. My child, my most cherished one, as I form these words, her spiritual essence is tangible beside me, a presence of immense love vibrating with a fierce, protective urgency. She longs to shield you. She aches for you to perceive the landscape as she now sees it, not just the name, but the full history of micro-betrayals, not just the face, but the spirit behind the eyes, not just the impending act, but the long chain of subtle, calculated movements you mistakenly attributed to clumsiness or stress, the forgotten invitation that isolated you, the well-meaning gossip that eroded your reputation, the helpful advice that led you away from your intuition. There is no accident in this pattern. It is a campaign. This woman, who holds a title in your family, has been nourishing herself on a hidden diet of your pain. When tears stain your pillow, she feels a surge of grim satisfaction. When a venture of yours falters, she hears an inner voice whisper, "See, I was right about their limits." Your mother witnessed this shadow play with her spirit eyes, and the sight moved her to fall before the very throne of grace, interceding with the passion of a mother whose child is in the path of a landslide. That intercession is the only reason this transmission has found you. Your mother declared to the councils of heaven, "If my child receives this word, their eyes will open. Their spirit will rally. They will recognize the infiltrator in their household, in their inner circle, within the clan that bears our name." Do not let a lifetime of kindness become a veil over your vision. Do not let a generous heart continue to ferry a passenger who is drilling holes beneath the waterline, smiling all the while. Heaven is illuminating the schemer now so you can dismantle the scheme before it capsizes your happiness. This is your divine mandate to enact self-preservation with the ferocity, wisdom, and unapologetic clarity that your mother herself would wield if she stood in your shoes. My beloved, you may be grappling with the timing, asking the universe, why this warning, and why now? The answer is written in the imminent future. A pivotal event is cued in the realm of cause and effect, a fork in the road of your family's story. One path leads to a breathtaking elevation, a sudden shift into a season of abundance and peace. The other path, the one currently being subtly engineered, leads into a valley of emotional devastation and protracted conflict. The hinge upon which this turns is the actions of a specific family member, someone you have consistently championed, perhaps fed from your own table, supported through their crises, even defended against the criticisms of others. This person is preparing to reciprocate that loyalty with an act of profound treachery. Your mother has accessed the timeline. From the balcony of eternity, where past, present, and potential futures are displayed like a vast, living mural, she watched the scene play out. She saw your face crumple in disbelief. She felt the cold shock in your heart. She heard the silence you would retreat into. But then, she looked further. She saw an alternate thread, a possibility where you received a warning and made a different choice. She saw you armored with foreknowledge, responding not with reactive pain, but with proactive, peaceful power. It was for this second possibility that she stormed the gates of mercy and enlisted my service. You are not a victim of a curse or generational misfortune. You are a marked recipient of grace, a soul chosen for a significant work, and the adversary has been deploying a strategy of ambient confusion to disorient you. But your mother's decree from the other side has broken that strategy. No more silence. No more deferral of truth. Thus, I am here, my voice a lance of light aimed at the heart of your distraction. Pay attention. This week, honor every gut feeling, every intuitive flinch. Do not rationalize the odd behavior of that one person, the one whose energy always feels subtly draining, who has a knack for appearing when you're joyful with a problem that needs solving, or who sows seeds of discord during periods of hard-won calm. Your mother's spirit is intent on bringing her into sharp, unforgiving focus for you. My precious child, even if the mere thought of betrayal from within the family fold makes your heart quail and your stomach turn, hold this truth as an anchor: heaven's revelations are never meant to annihilate, but to arm. Your mother's urgent message is not a sentence of doom, it is a strategic advance warning, a divine covering being woven around you even as the storm gathers. The woman in question will likely sense this shift in the spiritual atmosphere. Her response will be a performance of heightened manipulation. She may stage a tearful confession, designed to evoke your sympathy and disarm your discernment. She may cast herself as the misunderstood victim, preemptively framing any distance you create as your cruelty. She will deploy tears, not of genuine remorse, but of calculated control. Your mother's instruction is unequivocal: see the tears, but perceive the strategy behind them. Her energetic signature will change, watch for it. When you announce good news, note the slight delay in her smile, the thinness of her congratulations. When you are in a season of weakness or vulnerability, observe how she positions herself as the indispensable, yet often unhelpful, confidant. She has a blueprint, and heaven is now exposing it. Practice spiritual and informational economy. Guard your plans, your dreams, your financial moves, and your tender hopes. Let your words be few and measured. Allow celestial wisdom, not earthly emotion or familial obligation, to chart your course. Your mother understands your profound capacity to see the latent good in every soul. But in this chapter, she is calling you to a higher virtue, to see the unvarnished truth, even when it feels like a betrayal of your own hopeful nature. For it is only by staring directly at this truth that the deep healing can commence. And once that healing consolidates, you will become an unstoppable force of your divine purpose, and no earthly machination, least of all this woman's, will be permitted to hinder you again. My child, my eternal charge, there is a further layer of tenderness your mother in heaven has been transmitting, a frequency of love meant to seep into the marrow of your weariness. She has been weeping not solely over the external plot against you, but because she intimately knows the delicate texture of your heart. She remembers the child who forgave the schoolyard bully, the teenager who gave second chances to fickle friends, the adult who believes in redemption long after others have walked away. She adores this quality. It is the fingerprint of God within you. But from her post in eternity, she also sees its cost. And so, with love that must now be firm, she declares, this time, my darling, do not circle back. She has watched you from above, trying to glue together shattered relationships that God Himself allowed to fracture for your protection. She has seen you pouring your light into vessels riddled with holes, people who absorb your radiance and give back only drain. She has witnessed you standing as a human shield for those who would not lift a finger to defend your name. Now, she speaks from the ultimate authority of love beyond the grave. Guard your inner peace as the most sacred of trusts, for it is. That peace is a spiritual fortress, a deflector shield against chaos. And this woman, woven into the fabric of your family, is actively working to place a crack in that fortress wall. Your mother has perceived the core of her spirit. This is not mere personal jealousy, it is an assignment, a dark commission to distract, dilute, and derail your divine trajectory. This is the hidden reason behind the unexplained soul fatigue, the mysterious resistance you feel when pushing toward goals, the sense of swimming upstream. The blessing was never withheld, it was being surveilled by a hostile intelligence, waiting for a moment of vulnerability to strike. That surveillance is now being scrambled by heavenly intervention. The truth is mobilizing, and your mother's spirit will know repose only when she sees you safe on the other side of this revelation. My beloved, let me paint for you a scene your mother revisits often in the galleries of memory beyond the veil, a moment from your youth, perhaps you were 9 or 15. You were in your room, the door closed, your face buried in a pillow to muffle the sound. Your small body was shaking with sorrows too complex for your years. She, in the next room, felt the tremor in the force field of your shared love. She ached to burst in, to gather you up, to make the world right. Sometimes she did. Sometimes, circumstances or human failure prevented it. That ache, the visceral, physical longing of a mother to comfort her child, never left her. It is now amplified into a cosmic force. That same quality of comfort, distilled and magnified by divine love, is being decanted over your spirit at this very instant. Heaven is administering it. I am the conduit, my wings spanning the chasm to deliver this balm. For the conflict you are engaged in is superficial, its true nature is one of total restoration. God is poised to return to you every stolen fragment of joy, every ounce of confidence eroded by whispered lies, every opportunity deferred by covert sabotage. But your mother, who sees the complete picture, states the divine condition: this restoration is contingent upon your willing separation from the source of the poison. Yes, familial guilt will arise. Yes, others may call it an overreaction. But that stirring in your gut, that quiet knowing, it is not anxiety, it is spiritual intelligence gearing up for action. The transformation you sense in your energy field is real. The persistent low-grade unease, the symbolic dreams, the instinct to withdraw, these are not symptoms of brokenness, but confirmation codes from your spirit, acknowledging the warning. This woman has revealed her essence in 1,000 subtle ways: a belittling joke, a stolen credit, a carefully placed doubt. Now, you are being prepared to see the totality. And when that full sight dawns, your mother's directive is singular and powerful: withdraw. Do so with quiet dignity, with unshakable resolve, without the drama of explanation or confrontation. Simply step out of the orbit of her influence. The universe, and all the hosts within it, will handle the repercussions. You are not walking away alone, you are walking into a prearranged sanctuary of grace. My child, my heart's reflection, know this absolutely: you are not forsaken in this transition. Phalanxes of angels have been deployed, their assignments specifically rewritten to guard your steps, your sleep, your thoughts during this pivot. And your mother, oh, her presence is more tangible now than in the final years of her earthly life. She is orchestrating a symphony of signs meant for your eyes only. The feather that lands at your feet from an empty sky. The light bulb that flickers as you speak her name. The whisper of her favorite song from a passing car radio. The sequence of numbers: 111, 444, 222, that appears on clocks, receipts, license plates, until you cannot ignore it. You dismissed these as pleasant quirks of a remembering mind, but they are deliberate, high-priority communiques. Her way of transmitting: my spirit is present. My awareness is total. Please, my child, attend to this. She has attempted dream visitations, but the static of your daily worries and the armor you've built around your heart have garbled the signal. Now, through this concentrated burst of channeled truth, she is bypassing the filters. And her message is this: there exists within your family network a person who has become a factory of falsehoods about you. They specialize in twisting your words, misrepresenting your motives, and controlling the narrative that defines you in the eyes of others. But child, I bear witness, and God Almighty bears witness, your heart's ledger is clean. Their fabrications may have held temporary sway, but heaven's exposure protocol has been initiated. Do not engage in counter-campaigns. Do not waste your sacred breath explaining your heart to those who have already chosen the addictive drama of gossip over the demanding grace of truth. Merely hold your peace. Be still. Become the calm eye of the hurricane. Watch. The very tongues that fashioned lies will find themselves tangled. Those who doubted you will be compelled by conscience or circumstance to seek your pardon. Your victory does not require your struggle. Heaven has already entered the courtroom on your behalf and is reading the verdict. My beloved, engage all your spiritual senses now. Visualize this: your mother is standing in her eternal form, directly behind you. She places her translucent, luminous hands upon your shoulders, a weight of love, not of burden. She is weeping, but these are tears of profound relief and triumph, because after so many attempts, you are finally still enough, open enough, to listen. Her mission was never to terrify you, but to fortify you. She did not cross the dimensions to add to your pain, but to surgically remove a metastatic bitterness that had attached itself to your life. She is urging you to treat this with the utmost seriousness because she knows the architecture of your loyalty. Once you love, you bond with a tenacity that is both your glory and your vulnerability. This time, she is asking you to sever that bond. Not because love has failed, but because a counterfeit has masqueraded as love, threatening the very future that love is meant to build. There is a soul in your familial constellation that is fundamentally allergic to your spiritual light. Their envy is not a petty emotion, but a spiritual condition. If you continue to grant them unrestricted access under the banner of family, they will succeed in placing a roadblock between you and a monumental shift trying to enter your life: the deed to a new home, the contract for a dream career, the introduction to a destined partner, the financial windfall that will free generations, or the awakening to a calling that will heal multitudes. Your mother, from her front row seat to destiny, has seen this convoy of blessings lining up in the spiritual realm, awaiting safe passage into your world. But she also saw the shadow figure, this woman, laying down spikes on the road, setting up detour signs into deserts of lack and delay. So now, she speaks not with a mother's plea, but with a queen's authority from the kingdom of light: release them from your inner circle, or my ability to guard your incoming inheritance is compromised. This is not punitive, it is the physics of divine alignment. Trust her wisdom from beyond. Trust the synchronicity of this moment. Trust that the voice of the divine is resonating through her eternal love for you. My child, my beloved, this constitutes the final, actionable segment of what your mother in heaven needs you to integrate before this night concludes. The sequence is divine and precise: upon your acceptance, upon your clear-eyed recognition, upon your decisive act of creating spiritual and emotional distance from this toxic entity, an immediate unlock will occur. You will feel it first as a physical sensation, a sudden, deep release in the center of your chest, as if a constricting band you'd grown accustomed to has vaporized. Your sleep will deepen, your dreams will become vivid and instructive. A phone call from a forgotten connection will bring unexpected opportunity. A piece of long-awaited news will arrive, shifting your entire perspective. A door you had mourned as permanently sealed will swing open on oiled hinges. Do not attribute this to chance. This is the law of divine obedience activating the mechanism of divine reward. Your mother states plainly, "I was dispatched to sound this alarm so that your heart would not be caught off guard, but would be braced and ready to partner with heaven's shift." Now that the message has been delivered and received, the forces of light will not stand down. And I, Archangel Michael, swear by the uncreated light from which I proceed, no strategy forged in the shadows against your destiny will achieve its aim. No lie muttered in darkness will have the power to topple what heaven is now building around you as a citadel. But the catalyst is your immediate, conscious choice. The season of this woman's covert influence is concluding. Her access to your energy, your confidence, your story, is being revoked by cosmic decree. When you feel the pull of that revocation, when conversations die, when invitations cease, when her presence fades, do not resist it. Do not misinterpret it as loss. Embrace it as the most tangible form of protection you will ever receive. Your imminent season of flourishing is architecturally dependent on this severance. And your mother, her eternal mission nearing a milestone of success, will at last enter a state of celestial rest, knowing you are not only safe, but empowered, illuminated, and striding with full authority into the brilliance of your ordained path. Subscribe now, for the connection has been established. The next transmission is already being encoded, containing further guidance and confirmation. The coming 24-hour cycle is a critical juncture in the spiritual timeline. Maintain a state of prayerful alertness. Cultivate inner quiet. Above all, remain an open vessel. My child, my eternal beloved, there is a foundational truth your mother in heaven has seen you circling, a truth you have instinctively turned from because its admission feels like a betrayal of your own hopeful nature. It is not merely about what someone is doing behind your back, it is about the testimony of your own flesh, the wisdom of your own nervous system, which you have systematically overridden in the name of politeness, loyalty, or hope. That cold twist in your solar plexus when you hear her voice on the phone. The inexplicable tension that grips your shoulders when you know you will see her at a gathering. The faint, inner whisper that sighs, "This person is not safe," immediately followed by your mind's loud rebuttal, "Don't be judgmental. She's family." That whisper is not paranoia, it is your spirit, your most ancient and loyal guardian, sounding the alarm. It is your mother's own intuition, now merged with yours, speaking through the very cells of your body. She has been trying to download this awareness into your conscious mind for months, perhaps years. But because your heart is architecturally designed for grace, you constructed elaborate excuses. "She's going through a hard time. I must have misunderstood. She didn't really mean it." Child, from the perspective of eternity, your mother is not navigating confusion. She perceives the entire energy signature, the history of intentions, the future trajectory of this soul, and it brings her to tears of divine frustration because she can foresee the collateral damage of your continued disregard. She knows the precise emotional injury that is being calibrated, the specific dream that will be ridiculed, the unique trust that will be shattered. Hence, the escalation of signs, the near-miss accident that wasn't, the crucial message that arrived seconds before a poor decision, the profound, soul-deep peace that descended on the weekend she was out of town. These were not random acts of a chaotic universe, they were targeted interventions, divine insulation placed around you by her beseeching spirit. She is kneeling before you now in the spirit realm, imploring, trust the somatic truth. The discomfort is not a flaw in you, it is a divine navigation system, redirecting you away from a cliff obscured by the fog of familial obligation. My beloved, you are being ushered to the threshold of a season that will not tolerate the former version of you. That version, the people-pleaser, the over-explainer, the one who absorbed disrespect as a cost of love, who mistook red flags for festive banners, who poured their energy into the bottomless cups of emotional manipulators, that version's contract has expired. Your mother witnessed the emergence of your future self long before you dared to believe in its possibility. She saw your magnitude when you were small, a light so bright it scared lesser lights into opposition. And now she proclaims, you have spiritually outgrown the ecosystem that includes this pain. There is a specific individual in your orbit whose sustenance is drawn from the fog of your uncertainty. They relish your dependence, your moments of self-doubt, because it confirms their narrative of superiority and makes you easier to manage, to subtly control. But the divine council has reviewed the case. Your mother's petitions in the high courts of spirit have been heard, and a verdict of emancipation has been issued. This message is the legal document served to you today. The cycle of subtle abuse will shatter the very instant you choose to see the unvarnished reality without apologizing for your own clarity. It will hurt, a clean hurt like a bone being reset. It may feel desolately lonely, like standing on a new shore watching the familiar ship sail away. But oh, my cherished one, the continent of freedom that awaits you, its air, its vistas, its boundless possibilities, will make every pang of separation a sacred investment. Your mother is already on that shore, celebrating your arrival. She glimpses your future companions, souls of resonant truth. She sees the doors, already turning on their hinges. She feels the healing rushing toward you like a tide. But the exodus must come first. This woman, this repository of toxic patterns, must be excised. Not with malice, not with fiery drama, but with the serene, holy clarity of a surgeon removing a tumor to save the whole body. Quietly, without fanfare or final confrontation, let her slip from the center of your life to the periphery, and then beyond your horizon. Your peace is the only farewell required. My child, my beloved, mark this prophecy, within the next 72 hours, a test will manifest. She will approach you, likely in a manner designed for maximum emotional impact. Her story will be layered with drama, salted with tears, perhaps even tinged with a faux spirituality. She may claim a revelation, a fear, a confession meant to hook your compassion and reel you back into her sphere of influence. She will cry, her performance of vulnerability meticulously crafted. She may even utter the words, "You know I've always loved you," with a tremor meant to disarm. Your mother instructs you, listen with your spirit, not your ears. For in the realm of spirit, lies cannot hold the shape of light. Her sorrow may be a garment worn for the occasion, not a truth born of the heart. Your mother has studied her methodology across timelines. She observed this woman's rehearsals long before you sensed the draft of manipulation. This person is a master of performative sympathy, a technician of feigned innocence. But your soul, that brilliant, God-tethered entity within you, has always known the score. Its knowing has been muffled under years of "be the bigger person" and "family is forever." Now is not the epoch for more chances, it is the era of irreversible change. Your mother foresaw this crossroads, this final exam before the full truth erupts into plain sight. And now, the exam booklet is before you. Your performance in the next moments will define the curriculum for the next chapter of your life. If you choose the path of inner peace, that peace will become a tangible force, flooding your home, your work, your relationships. If you choose to enact sacred boundaries, blessings will recognize the cleared space and rush in to fill it. But if you ignore the warning, if you override your spirit's screaming intuition for the sake of temporary comfort or false harmony, the lesson will repeat. The pain will recycle with greater intensity until its message is finally heeded. My beloved, receive this final, nurturing word from heaven tonight. Your tears have formed a river in the spirit that has reached the throne. Your confusion is not a sign of weakness, but the honest fog of war. Your strategic silence in the face of provocation is not a failure, but a profound discipline. Your mother has borne witness to it all, the nights you applied a smile as a bandage over a hemorrhaging heart, the days you loved others from an empty well, the moments you performed okay for an audience that never thought to ask if you were. But now, precious child, the universe itself says, your turn. You have served others at the altar of your own depletion. You have carried emotional burdens that were never yours to bear. You have attempted to repair souls who never sent out a search party for their own broken pieces. Now, heaven's decree is liberation, release the weight. Step back from the drama. Inhale the free air of your own existence. This incoming season is branded with the seal of restoration. But restoration requires space, space currently occupied by a heavy, false artifact. This woman is not a divine assignment for you to fix or endure, she is a distraction, a glittering lure placed on a hook to keep you from swimming into deeper waters. Your mother in heaven is waging a war on the spiritual plane, the intensity of which you cannot fathom, to ensure this message bypasses every defense and lands in the core of your believing heart. You are not insane. You are not creating drama. You are undergoing a spiritual awakening. And the hosts of heaven erupt in celebration when the sleeper finally opens their eyes, shakes off the clinging webs of illusion, and stands upright in their own power. Now, walk. Do not look back with longing at the familiar prison. And when the silence of her absence feels like a vacuum, remember this sacred truth: your mother never abandoned her post. She merely transitioned from an earthly guardian to an eternal sovereign, from sharing your pain to commanding the legions that end it, from whispering comfort in your ear to orchestrating the thunder of your liberation. You are safe now. You are seen. You are sovereign. Truly, completely, and eternally safe, my child, my beloved. My beloved child, there is one more truth your mother's spirit presses upon me to convey, a truth that concerns the very nature of the spiritual warfare now unfolding around you. This is not a battle of personalities, but a conflict of inheritances. The jealousy this woman harbors is not merely for your possessions or relationships, but for the spiritual mantle that rests upon your shoulders, a mantle your mother herself helped weave through her prayers and her lineage. From heaven's vantage, your mother sees this mantle clearly. It is a cloak of resilience, empathy, and creative authority that marks you for a work of healing in this generation. The enemy, understanding the threat of this anointing, has strategically placed a friendly obstacle in your path, a voice meant to sound like counsel but which carries the faint echo of sabotage. Every time you have hesitated to step into a God-given opportunity, every time you have questioned your own worthiness for promotion or love, you have heard this woman's past criticisms and veiled doubts playing in your mind like a broken record. Your mother wants you to know that this internal soundtrack is not your own. It is a spiritual implant, and the time for its removal is now. Her warning is the divine scalpel. When you act on it, you will not only break an earthly tie, you will sever a psychic leash that has been limiting the full expression of your destiny. Furthermore, your mother has seen the web of connections this woman maintains, a network built not on authentic fellowship but on shared grievances and subtle control. Your departure from this web will cause tremors. Others, who have been comfortable in the stagnant dynamics, may react with confusion or even blame. They may call you divisive or sensitive. Your mother anticipates this and says, "Let them." Your obedience to the heavenly vision is creating a necessary divine disturbance. It is shaking the foundation of a dysfunctional structure so that something new, aligned, and healthy can be built. Do not waste energy defending your decision to those still asleep in the old system. Your peaceful absence will become the most powerful sermon you could ever preach. It will force others to choose their own alignment, and in doing so, the wheat will be separated from the chaff in your relationships. The true allies, the divine connections your mother sees waiting in the wings, will be drawn to the clarity and peace you emit. They will recognize the frequency of your freedom and will resonate with it, entering your life not with drama, but with a harmonious support that feels like coming home. She also wishes you to understand the profound physical and energetic reclamation that will follow this severance. You have been unknowingly donating your vital energy, your chi, your life force, to sustain a connection that only depleted you. This is the source of that chronic, unexplained exhaustion that doctors could never name. Once the cord is cut, this energy will return to you in a rushing tide. You may feel surges of vitality, sudden bursts of creative inspiration, or a deep, restorative sleep that heals you at a cellular level. This is your birthright returning. Your mother sees your aura, which has been dimmed and frayed at the edges by this parasitic connection, beginning to repair itself, growing brighter, denser, and more radiant than you have ever known. This light is your natural state. It is your spiritual immune system. And as it strengthens, you will find yourself naturally repelling lower vibrational energies and situations, while becoming a magnet for miracles, synchronicity, and grace. Finally, my child, your mother imparts a blessing over the loneliness you may temporarily feel. She knows the hollow echo that can follow the closing of a familiar door, even when that door led to a prison. She blesses that empty space and pronounces it holy. For that silence is not a vacuum, it is a sanctuary under construction. It is the cleared ground where God will build a new community for you. Do not rush to fill it with noise or lesser connections out of fear. Sit in the quiet. Let the angels minister to you there. In that sacred stillness, you will hear your own voice again, your true voice, not the one conditioned by manipulation or obligation. You will rediscover your own laughter, your own preferences, your own unedited dreams. This period of seeming solitude is, in truth, the most intimate communion with the divine and with your mother's spirit that you have ever experienced. She is there in the quiet with you, not as a memory, but as a living, comforting presence, teaching you how to be your own sanctuary so that you will never again confuse attachment for love, or familiarity for safety. Therefore, stand firm in the revelation you have received. You are not just avoiding a crisis, you are consenting to a coronation. The steps you take in the next few days, the boundaries you set, the conversations you limit, the peace you choose, are the final preparations for your long-awaited enthronement into the purpose you were born to fulfill. Your mother's work in delivering this warning is complete. The torch has been passed. The choice and the power are now eternally yours. Walk forward, beloved. Your kingdom awaits.